Salute world, this is your fellow music producer and friend, Mr. Norbs out of Toronto, Canada. Very excited, beautiful day today here. Hope it is for you as well, both in the studio and out, as I'm about to do the official walkthrough for the Vivid Kontakt Suite of Libraries. We're going to go through every module in this video very quickly. Then I'm going to go back to this first module, get rid of all these layers, start fresh, build something with you guys, go over every button, feature, function, knob, etc. on this interface, sub panels, and every other module will have its own respective video going with it. If you're looking at this on our website, great, you'll have respective text and pictures to go along with each. If not, check the description for the official link and go grab your copy as quickly as you can. This may not be a must-have, but it's definitely a should-have, nice to have, probably going to want to have. All right, so first things first, let's go over them quickly. This is our main module, 2,000 sounds, from drums to bass to various instruments, 3 banks, 40 per bank. Some of these have all 128 sounds with different sounds per key. Some of them are 5 octaves deep. Some of these instruments, most of them are actually, including the basses, are 3 per kit. So if you click on bass, you'll find 3 instruments and they're spanned over 3 to 4 octaves each. Most of the modules come with the glide and legato section and pattern builder section. This is actually beautiful for you beginners, especially if you don't understand or want to get more familiar with patterns, drum patterns, chord patterns, progressions, layering sounds together, etc. This has all actually been built using all these just so I can quickly set up each module and give you guys an example. And we have a quick little My Code version for those ambitious folks that want to get into KSP development. I gave you your first knob and you can start assigning different effects to it that we haven't used yet, etc. if you want to go down that route. Those that want to just make music, welcome aboard. Let's get to it. So I'm currently on a trap kit and I'm just going to press play here, let this go through. Okay, so what happened there? We just laid a quick combination of kick, drum, or kick, snare, hi-hat, etc. combos, and then on the second half there's a bit of a hi-hat going on with a bunch of pitch bending that should be separated, but it's okay. This is just for this demo. So what I can do right now is, let me play it again and just switch up some of these kits. All right, you get it. Everything makes sense as you change the kits, right? They also make sense if you go in here, grab the kick, snare, hi-hat combo, and just move it up 1 octave. Let's see what happens. We'll go up again. All right, you notice I'm changing octaves and everything still makes sense again. So all the drums make sense for 5 octaves deep. And when you change patches, it still makes sense 5 octaves deep, no matter what. So there's an unlimited amount of combinations. There's also an octave before the 5 on these first initial patches that are all drums that have an octave's worth of risers, falls, effects that are also placed the same way. So you hear how all those swooshes and builders are happening? They will make sense throughout all the kits when you change them as well. Okay, so that covers the first module without going into all of the functions just yet, because we're going to do that after we walk through all these really quickly. Next up, we have our bass module, and this is literally 120 modern basses, same interface. This time, we've stretched out a sound per patch. So even though we go way out of range on these sounds, we would rather have no naked keys instead of just finding that sweet spot, 3 octaves, 4 octaves, and then cut off all the other sounds. Not that it's good or bad, it just oftentimes get confused. Why am I not hearing nothing? Oh yeah, because I'm out of range. So we just filled up everything, even though it goes way too high or way too low. It's just easier to sketch with, easier to hear sometimes up high on the higher octaves, etc. So let's hear 2 layers together now. Okay, and some of the effects that we haven't gone through yet, but will help build this bass, make it thicker, distort it a bit, give it a bit of a compression, etc. So let's do this again, and now I'll just quickly scroll through some of these. Okay, next up is our voices mod, and this is 40 patches of different types of voices. Hired some great talent to do these for me. Some are abstract, some are traditional. I'm just going to quickly play one of the chords that were laid using the MIDI pattern builder here. This is actually our multi. There's 3 of them going on here. So let's just solo one of these guys. And you can hear the little portamento happening. So we'll turn that back off actually. We give these sounds to you guys very raw, so that you can compress them, do your own reverbs and whatnot. We didn't want to narrow it down into a final sound just yet, so there's still a lot of room to play with. So this, let's make it a little lighter. Let's bring the attack in a bit more and make it last a little longer on the way out. Okay, I'm just going to freestyle a little bit here. Next up is our conductor tool, which is basically a low brass / cinematic low end tool, where again you can combine these into multis like we've done here, and you get very interesting both stabs, low holds, low end suspense, nice textures, etc. Let me just play what we got here by itself. Alright, so you have both a stab and a hold happening there. I'm just going to randomly play here. So what I'll do here for a quick minute is just let this couple bar setup play out and just change up kits for a little while. Let you guys hear how easy it is to lay a pattern, change it up to a different kit or octave, and boom, find that perfect flavor for your already existing composition, or if you're starting from scratch. Let's go. right, a few more to go and we're done. We are currently looking at the looper. 1,300 loops spread out over 40 tracks. Here we go. My instrument. This gives you guys the opportunity to get in here and get under the hood, import your own samples. And we've taken it even one step further to say, if you are good at creating samples, have always wanted to bring libraries to market, but lack the know-how to build something like this out, we encourage you guys to do as much as you can with this, with your sounds, underscore your sounds that you've made or have rights to, or even KSP developers that can take this further. If you guys do something very creative with this, send it in to us, and we love it, and it blows everyone's socks off. We will include your expansion pack on our website for sale and split profits with you guys 50-50. So this might not be that many of you. This might turn into 10, 20 cool user-made expansion packs for Vivid. Now, the way it works is we belong to a network that allows you to sign up and create a JV venture. And you guys literally have full login, transparency, access to analytics, traffic, money. Everything is wired to you once a week, direct deposit. Everything, again, is transparent, and it's 50-50. You guys bring the sounds, we bring the interface and the technology and the outreach and the platform and the website and the commerce and everything else that maybe you're intimidated by when trying to think of, hey, I have great samples. I've been making great stuff. I just can't do the rest of it. So let us do the rest of it. You guys submit stuff, and if it works, awesome. And if you're not thinking that far ahead, you just really want a cool interface to finally use in Kontakt to dump your own samples into, this is it. And I'm going to walk you guys through how to grab your own samples, dump them in here, span them, use the various different sampler types. All the groups have been pre-made for you, so there's nothing to touch down here. In fact, please don't. You might break something. But once you do import stuff, like right here, there's 120 groups that have been pre-made. All you need to do is grab samples and throw them in. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble a little bit about this because I'm excited. I'm curious to see what the users out there will do. Okay, that's the quick / not so quick walkthrough of all the modules. This time, what I'm going to do is go over all the actual features and interface functionality that you have access to, get rid of all these layers, start from scratch, and build something from scratch with you guys. And once you're done watching this video, please watch the next ones that go over each module. They will be shorter, more power-packed. This just has to go over all the modules and the interface, so it's a bit longer. Other than that, salute. Thanks for holding on so far. Let's go to the next part of the video. All right, so here we go. I'm going to quickly lay a quick 3 layers probably, one for drums, one for an instrument, and one for bass, and that'll allow me to go through the rest of the interface and all the functions easily and highlight the use of each over those 3 instances of the main module. So bear with me here. Something like that. I'll fix it up here quickly and keep it moving. Okay, so I've built out 3 quick layers, drums, piano, and bass, and each will allow me to showcase these effects and functions individually and maximize it for each. So before I do that, actually, what I'll do is go over what you can do with the interface, and then we'll go into the actual sounds. You can change your background color. You can change your knob and button color. you can get rid of the animations here happening. And if I press a key, oops, I'm on the wrong layer, and you'll see that lighting up. And it looks cool when it's playing, and doesn't really take up too much CPU, but you can turn it off if it distracts you or you just want a blank canvas to work with the XY pads, which we'll go over in a moment. And then shadows, you can get rid of all the shadows. So for those using this for long sitting periods, I've tried to kind of match with most DAWs that are dark now and just make it comfortable. And if you do want it bright and light, you have that option as well. So I'm going to leave it right about there for now and move into the actual functionality of everything. So right now we are on the drum layer. I'm going to solo that, or before I do anything, let me just play out up to here what this sounds like so far with 3 layers of vivid going. Okay, so there it is. Let's go. First, top left, we have key sensitivity. If this is turned all the way to the right, then you have full sensitivity range. If this is turned all the way to the left, then it doesn't matter how hard you press the key, it's going to go full blast to what it's programmed to. Doesn't matter how hard I press it. So you leave it in about the middle and you have a good sort of safety range. But what I like to do is, I'm not going to do it now, or I might as well do it and then I can undo it afterwards as well. I'm going to bring this up a little bit, give you guys a better view here. You'll notice everything's kind of color coded because that's the velocity ranges that I'm working with. So if I want to grab all the kicks right here, I can hold down Alt, bring everything to full blast, and then bring everything down like that. Because when you lay keys and you lay hits on your drum pads and whatnot, you're not going to hit them perfectly, and sometimes you don't want to. But when you're making modern music and you're doing loops of great hits and kicks and snares, you usually want them to be somewhat standard. So this is a quick way for me to do it. And then you can bring this right down low and you have full range of every key and every sound. Leave it in the middle. Again, I call it a good safety range because it kind of catches everything and not going to say normalizes it, but just makes everything work and fit nicer. And if you want the broader range, just change it. Right beside that, on the right, we're going to skip this for a second. We have our cabinet. Let's do this on the bass because it will stand out more. In fact, let me do this. Sorry for that if it clipped anybody there. But yeah, great little addition for messing with bass tones and other instruments too, but it works really well for basses, I found. So we have that as the completion of our first top level of stuff going on, sans this section right here. Let's touch that next. So we notice X and Y and X and Y, and they kind of match these colors, and we have a drop down for everything. So you can assign what you want to every node of this. And right now I'm on the drums. I'm going to move this off the screen and bring in our piano. Right now, this guy is on formant and reverb. And notice that both formant and reverb have on and off buttons. So we'll need to turn these on in order for this to come through. There are other effects that are in this drop-down that are not reliant on and off buttons, such as the sends, the high and low pass filters, etc. So for those, you won't need to worry about turning them on. But here, now these nodes override these knobs for these two. And let me demonstrate. First, we'll deal with this one. We're going to mess with formant on the X axis and reverb on the Y. So first, let's get a reverb going on the piano. Now we'll turn formant on, and this kind of gives you a automatic voice effect, if you will. It'll add yah-yahs and wah-wahs and whatnot. So let's go. If we go from here to the knobs again, then we override this. So you got to be aware of going back and forth between the knobs and the nodes. And this is all automatable. So let me just demonstrate that real quick. I'm going to put this onto the latch and just go around once. right, I'm going to actually just loop that. Notice the CPU takes a hit. So what I like to do, I open this up and I get to those two, and I get rid of, I'm going to open this up some more for you guys, as many nodes as possible. So all we really need is one going up, one going down. And this way, when you get rid of all the nodes, it taxes the CPU a heck of a lot less. I'm doing a choppy job here, but you get it, right? So now, and if you did it on both nodes, then you'd have to adjust 4 automation planes there. But let's check it out. Okay, so this time we will affect the phase and the delay. Now we'll go with all 4. Formant, reverb, phase, delay. Formant, reverb, phase, delay. We'll probably have to turn the volume down a little bit. Okay, I think you guys get it. On the right, even though we just covered it a little bit, chorus, flanger, phaser. On the left, low, mid, and high, simple EQ. I still kind of recommend you guys use your own, and you probably have invested into third-party EQs and probably a lot of these. So even though we give them to you guys on board, and they're good to sketch with, good to even use in most cases, I'll even say, but they are kind of redundant because most people have their own. But for that quick fix or quick adjustment, quick check, quick test, we tried to give you the most reasonable and useful tools that you probably do have anyway. Okay, moving on from the effects to the right, we move into an LFO, and I think the best way to focus on this would also be on the piano. Might even change it over to a synth just to kind of demonstrate what happens with everything. So first we have timing options. The F stands for free, 16 locks you into 16ths, 64 respectively locks you into 64ths. I'll go to first to 16ths and then play with the presets. And once you like a preset, you can do final adjustments or press R to reset everything and just work with stuff manually, which I'll do second. Right here is a phaser, so you can decide where the actual starting point of that LFO is going to be and bring it back or bring it forward. Usually right near the end is where it sounds best to me. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'm going to actually change this to synths because it's going to hold the notes longer. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to reverse it to back to starting point, and we'll work with the pitch first. We have rate on the left, frequency on the right, and in the middle, sine and rectangle. Once I demonstrate the first one, you guys will catch on to the rest real quick. I'm going to first work with pitch, like I said, so I'll bring the frequency all the way up, bring the pitch all the way up, leave the 2 centered, and nothing will happen at first. If I move the sine wave up, things will swoosh in and out like a sine wave does. And it's ridiculously fast, so we're going to bring this back. All right, and that's locked into 16ths, so all of those will work either in triplets or in fourths or seconds or halves or 16ths or however it's going to work depending on where you put this. And this is the amount it's going to pitch it for you. So if I go back to 0, now nothing will work again. We'll pitch it just a little bit. Make it faster. Sounds very unnatural and silly, but I'm doing this just to show you guys and really give you over extreme examples to showcase it. So I'll do the same now with pitch, and I'll kick the beat in so that you guys can hear how it chops timed to 16ths. All right, and if we want to recreate that manually, we'll reset it. We're going to bring our velocity and our frequency up all the way first. Sorry, actually not the velocity, but the frequency. And then if we want it to smoothly go in and out, we will move this up. If we want it to cut in and out, we will move this up. So let's do smooth first. And now we're going to cut in and out. Now I'll add to that LFO panning left and right. So each hit that you're hearing will simply mimic, try to get close to what you see above there, and things should slide left and right. Then you can half time this, so you'll have 2 in each ear instead of 1 bouncing back and forth. What else you can do if you bring it to the free, let's reset it, bring it to free, and on the pitch, if we got rid of everything here and just had one long hold of a note, let's do this for a second. I'm going to bring the pitch all the way to the left, frequency all the way to the right. It's on free. Maybe chop that up. Okay, that sounds kind of interesting. What I'm going to do is quickly automate that and then show you what else you can do with the format tool there. All right. On top of the LFO here, we give you an LFO here. So if I turn this off for a second. Okay, below that, we give you guys a velocity, pan, and tune section here, which mimics this. So really, you don't need to touch it. That's all I'll say, but if you do want to fine tune any of these kits individually, when you click on them, you can do so right here. And then before we get to the banks, we have an auto pan. Will this work on this piano? Sure it will. I'm going to solo it. It's currently turned on and the amount is 100, so it's at full. And what this means is each note that's hit will randomly choose between left and right 100%. So sometimes it'll be in the middle, sometimes it'll be fully on the left, fully on the right, halfway on the left, halfway on the right, etc. Okay, we can turn it down a little bit if we think it's too wide. Probably work better if I just hit the key. Okay, there you have it. So I like to keep it on when I have some instruments going and I want a little bit of depth and width and stereo imaging, I guess. So we'll keep that on. right here we have our high pass and low pass filters. So for instance, right now the piano is catching a lot of lows and highs. Let's say we want to take out some of the lows to give more room for that bass to come through. We're just going to turn this up a little bit. I'll do it while it's playing so you can hear it. Matter of fact, let me solo it. I'd say about there is good. Let's see. Okay, so we're sounding pretty good. Okay, so this is a good example to use, or a good sound to use. This is what I used in some of the other demos as well. We're going to go into glide legato. We're going to let this play, and I'm going to start turning portamento. Well, I'm going to just turn it on right now. And you'll hear a little bit of a glide going on between the two notes that I press. If we go to legato. So let's have some fun. We'll go back and turn some of these effects on to give it some depth. Okay, so let's play something quickly. We'll do this over 2 bars. One will be on the G's, one will be on the C, D, D sharps. Quickly quantize it, and we'll keep it moving here. And our pattern builder, which I'm going to save for the full tutorial, but in short, there's full compositions here, which are basically the same songs from the looper module and all the layers within it. So you guys can reverse engineer them, learn from them, remix them, be creative with them. And then we also move into individuals. So drum patterns, both freestyled and from those same compositions, just arranged for you guys nicely here. Chords, freestyled, and from the compositions. And when I say freestyled, I just mean made on the spot sometime throughout this process of creating this tool. And hey, that sounds good. Let's save it as a MIDI file all the time. Leaders, freestyled, not many. We'll add some more in there before this goes. Gap fills, snare rolls, builders, etc. Risers and falls. Really, really, really cool collection of MIDI files that I think these could have been a product just on their own, or maybe they can be, take them out and sell them separately or something, but no, I want this to be exclusive just for this tool. So you guys have a MIDI pattern builder, literally build all this stuff out in no time, or just get creative with the foundational elements to get inspiration from. All right, and for the final part of the video, I'm going to audition a lot of these sounds. Not too many though, because I want this to be that digital crate digging surprise bag for you that it is supposed to be. So I've already shown you most of what's happening in the drum kits. There's 1 octave before the 5 that caters to a bunch of extra sounds that are also interchangeable among the drum kits. But once we get to D rolls, we start changing it up. And I tried to fit right up to here this first half with all the tools and the usual components, the usual suspects, 5 or 6 layers worth of stuff, going from drums to rolls to risers, falls, impacts, special effects and fills, a little bit of tribal, a little bit of wars and gun sounds, some beatboxes, and some more voxes and vocal elements. So all this combined is usually what most beats are made of, and subtle differences of each before we get into instruments and basses. So having said that, we already have a nice beat going, and the kit that I'm on right now is called Rolls, whereas literally we're rolling a snare in the middle, go up high in the higher octaves. We're rolling a hi-hat, and on the lowest octaves. So these are the 3 things that are usually rolled. However, if we're on a hip-hop kit or any other kit and we choose any of these samples, All right, you can still roll quite a bit because I've made the pitch bend go full octave up, full octave down. So you can still do a lot even though you don't have all these spanned individually like you do on the rolls kit. Moving on, risers and falls. These are literally rise, 1, 2, 3, and drop. Okay, let's actually do one. And there's quite a bit of both risers and falls, and they're split among the keyboard easily. So you just press left hand on the rise, right hand on the fall, or vice versa, I think it is, and you're good to go. Moving on, impacts is kind of the same as the falls or the hits on the fall section. Some of them have strong hits, some of them are light. These are very strong, low holds that act as great custom impacts. Some of them a lot stronger than others. Once past there, we get into special effects and fills. And this is a cool combination of sounds. We start off with environments and whatnot. Then we move into scratches. From there, we move into a whole bunch of really cool sirens. And from there, we move into very abstract and miscellaneous. Okay, moving on. Drizzle is actually a drum kit, and it is very watery, very draked, very drizzled out. Moving on, tribal, beautiful kit. We start off with very simple clap and handwork. Moving to shakers. And then into stronger drums. And then from there, we move into our custom in-house made tribal vocals, which are both soloed, multi-layered, and then some have auto-tune and whatnot for cool little effects for that tribal house feel. Go through a couple of them. Those are mostly solos. Then we go into layered. Let's try a couple of things with the beat here. All right, and from there we move into wars and gun sounds, which is an array of 100-ish sounds that go through the full spectrum of war. Sirens, guns, big city sirens. From there, we move into beatbox, which is a wicked Okay, moving on. This is a special part of the series that I'm going to take a moment for. I'm going to duplicate a layer here. Or actually, I'm going to duplicate a layer. And we're going to use the MIDI pattern builder for a second. I'm going to open up this instance of Kontakt. I'm going to choose jungle for the drums. And I'm just going to close it. I just know that right there is my jungle. So even though I'm on this kit, I'm going to move into my pattern builder because this is universal and I can drag things from here to anywhere. I'm going to go to my drum patterns, freestyled, and choose some drum and bass to showcase these voxes that we got MC Lucky General to do, which are phenomenal, and they work best with jungle. I don't want to cheapen them by putting them over my little beat here. So I'm going to import some jungle that I've created in the MIDI pattern builder. You saw me just double click from there, drag from here, and I just laid MIDI onto this layer of Kontakt. I don't want to confuse you. This is still this layer up here. All I did was change from this to pattern builder and dragged not to its layer but to the layer below it, which is this one, which is jungle. I still have this kit selected. Watch the and below this, I got my jungle. So let's play. I'm going to unmute it and just see how this sounds with the rest of it. Just taking this beat out. Okay, great. So I'm going to move the tempo up a little bit. So if it's jungle better, 170 is good. I'm going to randomly press a few of these. And the reason I also went up in tempo is because these are all time synced to go with the higher tempos between 150 to 180-ish, let's say.
As we enter, watch the bass line. Yeah, man, one big up all the Scarborough Rude Boys, them. All the brethren, them. All the girl, them, we love UK. All of the West Indies. Booty boom, bye-bye. Yo, so. All massive love the week. Champion zone, we are the champion zone. Whether we come bold, we come fi broke the sound down. We are the.
So on top of the amazing one-shots you just heard, when there's full lines, such as this.
Champion zone, we are the champion zone.
There's more to it. It's going to line up with whatever tempo you're already on. Let's do this one.
Sound down, champion zone, we are the champion zone. When we come bold, we come fi rock the sound down. Give me the beat, the big bassy beat. Them kind of tune that make them ladies move their feet. All up, pull it. So low like this, like that. Love on the country, don't think that's the place. Yo, with the drum and the bass and I'm moving the way. Who's ready with the bass line to drop? Bass like a gun, bass like a bass. Put down. Let them put them down. Boom, boom. Champion zone, we are the champion zone. When we come bold, we come fi broke the sound down. Boom, boom, bye-bye. Booty, boom, bye-bye. Boom, 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 boom. All UK posse. All Toronto crew. Champ, yam, man. Want to go on the T-Dot crew them. All of the West Indies. UK. Champion zone, we are the champion zone. When we come bold, we come fi broke the sound down. Do like this, like that. Love on the country, don't think that's the place. Yo, with the drum and the bass and I'm moving the body, but I'm moving the waist. Reaching out to all the sexy body ladies. Diana, all the girl them, we love all of the East Indies, Australia. Yeah, man, one big up all the Canada crew. All the Australian massive large up. Watch the bass line.
Okay, I don't want to overdo it. I probably just did. But you have two of those. Not just one, but two. 200-ish samples of MC Lucky General, one of Toronto's veterans in the drum and bass and ragga jungle and jungle scenes. You guys have him in a box. Look at that. Next, we move into voxes, which are similar to these, but they're not time synced and they're just random, meaning 3-4 different vocalists on this. So we're going to move on a little bit faster from here on out. Okay, so from here we move into our bass tones, and we have 3 sounds per patch. When you get into the 808 tool, it's 1 sound, but here we packed 3 in. So what you'll do is I'm going to hit the C3. I'm going to go up a bunch of octaves. This is a different sound now. I'm going to go down to the bottom octaves. Yet another sound. Okay, so you have 3 bass tones spread across 5s. There's 15 808s, 909s. There's a couple of variations in there too, but we from there move into normal instruments. I'm going to turn my key sensitivity up so I get full range here. All right, from here, I'm just going to choose every couple rows because I don't want to spoil it again for you guys. So we'll go into here. There's a couple beautiful strings. Violio, violinish sound. Skip this row, leave those a surprise. Xylos, blippers, bottles. Some abstract stuff. All right, and on bank 3, the couple things I will show you is the G dubs. These are really nice. Also 3 per patch. We move into pads, audioscapes, and trap boxes near the end. So I'll go through a few of the pads because these are beautiful. I have to work with this beat actually. Let's check. Okay, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this first video. Don't forget, it's a series, and the others will not be this long. Apologies for making it drag on, but I did enjoy showing you at least 500 or so of the total of 4,500 sounds that come with this 7 modules. Again, the whole package is a beautiful, maybe not must have, but nice to have. You'll want to have it. It's going to fast track your production process. Beginners are going to utilize this and abuse the crap out of it for the MIDI pattern builder, the looper, and reverse engineering and understanding to finally find your style and finally go, aha, probably about 20 times throughout this package if you're new to this stuff. If you like this, we would greatly appreciate it if you could click on the thumbs up button and drop a comment below. Really helps with our interaction and getting listed in other categories on YouTube. So I've taken my time. I've tried to be detailed. Hopefully I've delivered. And hopefully you guys do go to the website listed in the description and grab your copy today. I'll see you on the next video.